game 6, and we are at 3.5 points, which means if we win this, we get to the 4.5 points that we wanted to perhaps avoid being in the bottom two of our group. So the board actually doesn't seem too complicated at all. It looks like you just get as many minions as possible and then start to buy provinces. No plus buy on the board. You have a couple gainers in University and Hermit. I think University will definitely be worth it after the minions are gone. You have lots of attractive piles, still heralds, poachers, stables. What I'm thinking of opening here on the 4 and 3 is Hermit. I like to open Hermit, and not only do I like to open with Hermit, I like to get Madman as soon as possible. So I'm going to open with the Hermit and the Potion and discard this Necropolis for a couple points right away since I don't need it, thanks to the Arena. My opponent opens with 5-2, and I thought that was bad for him, right? I thought you would much rather have the Hermit and the Potion. And he goes for a minion straight away. He goes for a minion straight away, which is a reasonable thing to do on 5 coin on the opening hand anyway. And he gets a Sage on his turn 3 here. So I am able to pick up a University. The Sage is very nice for him at this point in the game because it guarantees that it finds him his minion. And he is going to hold up here, not attack me with a minion, and pick up another minion. So he has 2 minions, right? And I have a University coming. I play Necropolis here because I want to play the Hermit and perhaps trash the Overgrown Estate. Also, the Necropolis might be useful early on here if I do get a temple soon or something. And I do make the play here of picking up Hermit and Madman again here of my Hermit play. So like I said, I like to do that kind of thing. I do see my University straight away, but my opponent sees 2 minions straight away, which means yoink, I'm going to lose this hand and not be able to play my University. So here I do find the Madman on a truncated hand size. I still decide to play it. I don't really know why or what I was looking for there. Perhaps I was looking for the other Hermit. I didn't find the Hermit, but I still managed to get up to a University. I figured that I would not have really a better opportunity to trigger that Madman, since I will be going for minions myself, and I will have probably at best, well at best it's 5 cards in my hand, right, but most of the time it'll be 4 cards in my hand. I think that'll be the average. So here again I lose a University. I've bought 2 of them so far. I haven't been able to play any of them, I think. I lost them both to minion players from my opponent. The Sage is doing excellent work for him because I don't think he has anything except Sages and minions in his deck. Meaning the Sage can only find either Sage or minion. So it'll skip a lot of junk, it'll cycle him a lot as well, which is the big thing here. Meaning he'll see his minions more frequently, or rather have a chance at seeing the same minions that he played this turn, the next turn, because he's very near the end of his deck every time he plays his Sage. Well, not every time, but sometimes when he plays his Sage. That is the advantage of cycling very quickly, right? You get to see the cards that you buy more often. More often. So again, lots of minions come out for my opponent and causes me to discard. He now has a temple, I believe. He had no trashing prior to this. All he had was Sages and minions. No hermits, no temples, but I think he just bought a temple on the last turn there. So now seems like he is concerned a little bit about trashing. I wasn't too worried about losing those universities early if my opponent completely ignored trashing. I knew there would be some turns later on in the game where he would stall and not be able to attack me while I had my universities. I would be able to get my temple going and whatnot, but perhaps we'll see how well his temple does. Temple is particularly good with the shelters on the board because it can trash 3 cards. I have been remembering to trash 3 cards when possible with my temple. I've learned from my league match prior A temple can trash up to 3 cards. Great card with shelters on the board. I didn't open with it though because I wanted to get the potion down as soon as possible for the university as soon as possible. So hopefully here I can find my second university and level up the minion split. But I don't have any such luck and I can't even buy another minion because I don't have the money to. What I could do is discard with this minion and go looking again. And that is something that I do end up doing. I trash the Hermit here because, well, I think it's done all what I wanted it to do. I can keep the Necropolis around. It is not the worst thing in the world, I guess. Perhaps I should have trashed it. I don't know. But I decided to get rid of the Hermit. One less thing for the Sage to find, really. And I am able to pick up another minion. And I thought it would level up the split, but it actually doesn't. I only have 4 minions now. So my opponent somehow managed to win the minion split, despite me having 2 universities in my deck. Two, not just one, 2 universities in my deck. He has the minion split, and he is trashing now with his temple. So things are starting to look a little bit scary, and I was disappointed, really, to lose that minion split. Given that I had the universities, I was quite disappointed. But I suppose his Sage put in a lot of work for him, right? That allowed him to see his minions more quickly, and then he was just able to buy a minion a turn when he from turn 3 or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how it is he managed to win the minion split. So now he makes an interesting play here. He picks up a rebuild. Now, I didn't like the rebuild at first. I could see some use. It's not the worst thing to put into a deck that uses a lot of minions. Definitely not the worst thing to put into such a deck. This temple I have to discard because there's nothing for me to trash with it, unfortunately. So I recognize that it could have some use, but with shelters on the board, perhaps it would be too slow. Perhaps is what I thought. Also, I'm not sure how often he could see that rebuild, but he does have the 6 minions in his deck, so maybe he can't see it often enough. So rebuild also means I have to start playing a little bit more quickly, because if he is able to get to those rebuilds once a turn, at least he'll start to score points and be able to perhaps convert provinces into provinces and truncate the game, so I have to be prepared to go a little bit faster at this point. So I am gaining poachers with my university. Now, not the worst thing in a minion style deck. Right now, the poachers are like oases, and I don't really expect a second pile to empty, especially given that my opponent has no gaining. I have all the gaining on the board, so I have near total control of whether or not a second pile goes down. I guess the only gaining my opponent does have is with the rebuild. So a couple poachers, or the poachers will help me get money for province. Given that I only have 4 minions, I need to find some extra source of money. So which is why I bought the gold previously too here. And now I am able to sneak up to province and I take it right away. I do gain a temple just for the points. Not sure if that's the correct thing to do at all. But I do gain a temple just for the points. Perhaps poacher is better at that point in the game still. What is definitely worse is this hand. This is terrible, but when you have only 4 minions in your deck, you can't really do too much about these kinds of hands. They will happen more frequently to you than they will to your opponent. That's just how statistics works, right? What I can do at this point is just to trash with the temple and hopefully get more thin than my opponent so that hopefully I can be more consistent despite him having more minions. He's not able to get to province here, which I'm happy about, but he is just going to pick up a duchy so that his rebuild has something to rebuild, I believe. Oh, actually, no, he didn't do that. He picked up a poacher. He bought a duchy, I think, earlier, anyway, and he converted that into a province with this rebuild. So he is actually looking in a decent position at this point in the game here. with his rebuild, it is doing work for him. He's able to at least build up right from either estate into duchy or duchy into province. So here my opponent has a bit of a think here. I'm not sure what he's thinking. I would perhaps trigger any shuffle with the rebuild. He does go for it, and he gets through quite a bit of it. He names, I don't know what he named actually, but he ended up trashing a province and, well, obviously regaining the province. So he's trying to truncate the game, perhaps? He's trying to truncate the game. Perhaps that is the correct thing for him to do. I'm not sure whether or not that is the correct thing for him to do. I think it is though, because I do have some opportunity to make use of temple to gain points, because I do have the universities around, so I can play temple, gain temple, and get some small amount of points, and perhaps creep back into the game if he just keeps buying provinces and causing his deck to gum up with all the green cards in it. So I guess that is the correct thing for him to do, to churn provinces out. He finally manages to trash his estate, which he bought to trash the hovel earlier in the game, sorry, into a duchy, and is able to pick up another province. So the game is coming to an end quite suddenly here. Two provinces left in the pile, and I'm not seeing my minions at all to give me any chances whatsoever. I now pick up a rebuild here, I think. I consider it anyway, but I don't think it does too much for me. I feel like Stables and Herald will do better. So my opponent is actually able to close out the game here, rebuilding into province and buying another province. So I don't get the 4.5 points. I only get 3.5, leaving me at 14 points for the whole season. Not a great season at all. Looking back at my games, I made so many endgame mistakes, and that is something I really have to work on for the next season. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in season 23 of the league.